In this video, I'm going to show you the basics of editing in Premiere. I'm going to show you the cuts, how to move clips around, left to right, and all that kind of stuff. We're going to be working mainly in the timeline. I will show you the tools in the timeline and how to put them into practice. Let's get into it. All right, sometimes to make your movie stand out, it's not what is in your movie, but what is not in your movie. In order to take things out of your movie, you need to know how to cut. Let's start by creating a new project. So you're going to go into, we will start all the way over. We go to File, we go to New Project, and you should already have a good idea of how to do this. But project name, we would just name it whatever we want. Okay, and then make sure you change the location. Always change the location to where you want it to go, otherwise you will never find it. So we click next. Now we have a nice little thing here, and we're going to drag some media to the timeline. So after you create the new project, you're going to drag your media into the timeline like this. Make sure you let it go. And we're going to practice using the source monitor, add clips in the timeline. I know that we went over this in the last video, but I'm going to give you a more in-depth look now. Place your timeline playhead, that is this blue line, somewhere in your project over a clip. We're going to put it right here. Now, when you double click on a clip from the project panel, remember it's going to show in the source monitor. Here we have that clip. It loads into the source monitor and we have the playback menu here. Now we're going to choose a point within the selected clip. This is where I want you to practice. We're going to do an in point and we are going to do an out point wherever you want to put it, like so. And I'm going to use this as a B-roll clip. B-roll is a video that goes over the top. So if you were doing an interview about military, you could do B-roll of military explosions or troop movements or military vehicles or maneuvers, whatever the case. That is B-roll. I'm assuming you know, but in order to do that, I'm going to only drag the video portion, which video only. I'm going to put it all the way over on top, and I'm going to go to overlay, and that is going to overlay that clip so you can't see the cut between the two, but that's okay. And that's the way I'm going to do that. The timeline panel is the most efficient place to edit, in my opinion. And here are the menu options for the timeline panel. I'm going to click on that accent grave key. Remember that the accent grave key is that little mark button in between the escape and tab key. It's going to take you full screen. Now here we have insert and overwrite sequences as nests or individual clips. We have snap in timeline. So snap in timeline is going to snap that clip to that point, any point in the timeline. Okay. If we uncheck that magnet right there, we can move this left and right the way we want, anywhere that we want it, but we don't want to do that. If your clips are not snapping to the point in the timeline, especially if they're not snapping to the timeline playhead, make sure you go and you click on that magnet. Linked selection, all this means is that these two pieces that are highlighted, the video and the audio, are together. If we click on that, it's going to unlink that selection. Then we can move these around and they will not be linked. We can move the video without the audio. I always keep that linked. This is to add a marker, and a marker marks a place in the timeline. If you have a clip selected and you hit the marker, it's going to put the marker on the clip. But typically what I do is I add it up here in the time ruler. So I press the escape key so that I don't have any clips selected, and then I go to the point where I want to add the marker and I click on the marker, and that will add the marker above in the timeline panel. And then you have the timeline display settings, so you can see keyframes or names or whatnot. You can see all of this stuff. Another big thing about the timeline is if you double click in this empty space to the right of the eyeball or to the right of the voiceover record, it will expand the track out so you can see it a little bit better, just like this. I hope you got something out of this video. As always, if you have any questions, please let me know.